Okay, so let's continue with our example. So again, this is graphing f of x equals x squared minus 4x minus 5. So we have here a quadratic function, no? The degree is 2. So alam natin na ang graph ng quadratic function ay isang parabola. So it's actually in the form of f of x. This function is in the form f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So ito yung values ng a, b, at saka ng c. So yung quadratic function or yung graph ng quadratic function, meron siyang vertex, no, at hk. So yung h, this is the x coordinate. Yung k, that's the y coordinate of the vertex. So yung h, that's we can find it by using the formula negative b over 2a. So yung b, this one is the b. Yung a naman is yung coefficient ng leading term. Okay? So when you have the value of h, i-substitute lang natin yan sa x and we'll find the value of k. So actually k is given by f of h. So again, i-substitute natin yung kung ano man yung value ng h dito, i-substitute natin sa x and that would be our k. Okay, so in this example, h equals negative b over 2a. Ang b natin ay negative 4. Ang a natin ay 1, no? 1 ang a. So we have negative of negative 4 over 2 times 1. And so that's a negative times negative, that's 4. Divided by 2 times 1 is 2. So 4 over 2, that's 2. So our h is 2. So given that h is 2, our k is f of 2. So, i-substitute natin yung 2 sa x. Ayan, sa original function. So, that's 2 squared minus 4 times 2 minus 5. So, 2 squared is 4. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8, then negative 5, and that gives us negative 9. Thus, the vertex of the parabola is 2, negative 9. Okay? So, tandaan natin ito, i-graph natin, ipa-plot natin ito mamaya sa graph. Okay. And let's find, second step, let's find the x-intercepts by solving the equation. Ayan, let's solve this equation. So, x squared minus 4x minus 5 equals 0. So, we factor this. Now, we factor that. And that becomes x plus 1 times x minus 5 using factoring technique. So, equals 0. And by the 0 property, it's either x plus 1 equals 0 or x minus 5 equals 0. So, solving for x equals negative 1 and x equals 5. Meaning our zeros are negative 1 and 5. So, our x-intercepts are x equals negative 1. So, that's negative 1, 0. Kasi x-intercept, y equals 0, diba? And for this, we have 5, 0. These are our x-intercepts. Okay? And then, yung step 3 natin, we have to find the y-intercept. And that is by evaluating the function at x equals 0. So, original function natin, f of x equals x squared minus 4x minus 5. Substitute natin yung 0 sa x, and we solve that. And that is negative 5. Meaning, our y-axis is at 0, negative 5. Okay? Ipa-plot din natin yan. So, plot the graph using the points that we got from step 1 to 3. Yung step 1, that's the vertex. Yung vertex, andito siya. Ayan, we plot this in the graph. And then, yung x-intercept natin. Okay, ayan. And then, yung y-intercept natin, andito. And then, we connect the points by using a curve, no? Because it's a parabola. We know that it's a parabola. Okay. And that's for the example number 1. Now, yung example number 2 naman. Suppose we are given the polynomial p of x equals x squared times x minus 4. So, we know that the degree of this polynomial is 3. Okay? 3. Kasi x squared times x, that would give us x cubed, no? So, find the x-intercept and the y-intercepts of the function. Then, use the x-intercepts to determine the intervals in which the graph is above x-axis and the intervals in which the graph is below the x-axis. Then, we are going to create a table of values. It's very important that we create table of values when we graph polynomials, especially with degrees greater than 2. So, and then we plot the points and connect them with a smooth, continuous curve. So, ganun ang pag-graph ng polynomial functions with degree greater than 2. Okay. So, find the x-intercepts first. Okay, find the x-intercepts by solving the equation. So, x squared times x minus 4 equals 0. So, we have, by the zero property, x squared equals 0 or x minus 4 equals 0. Solving for that, x equals 0 and x equals 4. So, the zeros of the equation are x equals 0. It has a multiplicity of 2 kasi nga, x squared yan. Okay, multiplicity of 2. And yung x equals 4 only has a multiplicity of 1. So, isang beses. So, it's a third degree function. So, we know that the maximum number of zeros niya ay 3. But since x equals 0 has a multiplicity of 2, then it answers the question kung bakit dalawa lang yung zeros. Ha? So, thus, the graph of the function intersects at the x-axis at x equals 0 and x equals 4. Okay, x equals 0 and x equals 4. So, find the y-intercept by evaluating the function as x equals 0. Okay, substitute natin yung 0 sa x. Okay, solving for that, p of 0 equals 0. So, it tells us that the graph intersects the y-axis at 0, 0. So, ito yung y-intercept natin. Okay, y-intercept. Tandaan natin yan kasi gagamitin natin yan sa table of values mamaya. Okay. So, the two x-intercepts divide the x-axis into 3 intervals. Okay. Pag tatlo ang x-intercepts, that will divide the graph or the x-axis into in between kasi yung mga x-intercepts, no? So, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, kung tatlong x-intercepts natin, that would be 4 intervals, no? So, we make the following table. Yung interval natin, ito yung, this is negative from negative infinity, 0 from 0 to negative infinity. Okay? And then we have 0, 4. Okay, we have the 0, 4. And then, yung 4 to positive infinity. Okay? 4 to positive infinity. Kasi yung x-intercept natin, class, pakita natin yung, okay, ito yung x-intercept natin. Okay, yung 0 at saka yung 4. Okay, yung intervals, mula 0 papunta dito. This is the first interval. Okay, yung second interval, yung in between. Okay, yung third interval naman from 4 pataas, yung sa positive infinity. That's why meron tayong tatlong intervals. Okay? So, balik tayo dun sa step 3. So, we now have the intervals, no? So, kukuha tayo dito ng value ng x. Isa lang, no? Para makakuha lang tayo ng isang point. So, let's say, after ng 0, negative 1. So, yung madaling masolve lang. X equals negative 1. And then, we substitute that to x and we solve. So, that gives us negative 5. Meaning, the point on the graph would be negative 1, negative 5. Okay? And then, yung sa second interval naman, between 0 and 4, kukuha tayo ng value. So, let's have x equals 2. So, P of 2, substitute natin yung 2 sa x. O, ganitong lang din, process. Solving that gives us negative 8. So, the point on the graph would be 2, negative 8. And then, yung sa interval na 4 to the positive infinity, kuha lang tayo ng isang value ng x. So, right after 4 is 5. So, substitute natin yung 5 sa x, and then we solve, and we get 25. So, meaning the point on the graph is 5, 25. Okay? And then, gagamitin natin ito sila to solve for other values, no? And magko-construct tayo ng table of values. So, unang-una, we have, ano ba yung una natin kanina? Negative 1, negative 5. Okay, ito yan, negative 1, negative 5. And then, yung 2, negative 8, ito, 2, negative 8. And yung 5, 25. Remember, yung tatlong values na yan, in between them, kumuha din tayo ng mga points. So, kinuha natin yung, of course, this is the x-intercepts natin, no? The x-intercepts. Okay? In between the x-intercept and yung gitna na point natin, kumuha pa tayo ng isa pang value ng x. Para lang almost exact, no? Almost exact yung graph. And then we solve for p of x and that gives us negative 3 and negative 9. So, ito yung substitution lang ito ha, substitution. Yung when x equals 1 and when x equals 3. Inakuha natin yung negative 3 at saka negative 9. So, ito yung mga points na gagamitin natin na ipa-plot natin dun sa, ipa-plot natin sa graph. Okay. So, we plot the graph. We plot those points. We plot those points, no, on the graph. Okay. So, we have unang-una, negative 1, negative 5. Okay. That's negative 1, negative 5. Ito yan. Okay. And then, 0, 0. Itong 0, 0. Then, we have 1, negative 3. 1, this is 1. Yung negative 3 naman, ito. So, ito siya, no? And then, we have 2, negative 8. 2, negative 8. Ito yan, this point. And then, we got in between that, 3, negative 9. Positive 3, and then negative 9. Ito siya. So, this is the point. And then, we have 4, 0. 4, 0, ito siya. And then, right after is 5, 25. Okay. Yung 5 naman, andun na sa taas, yung 25. And then, we connect the points with a curve line. Yung curve, smooth curve. So, this is the graph of this function. Okay?